This thing on? Mic check. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me clearly. Yo, should you practice art? Or should art be your practice? I had a question, so I asked it. Not to anyone specifically, but to my inner God, you know? The one that's gonna be a master. The one that's more than a rapper. The one that's an educator. The one that seeks enlightenment. He travels with concepts. He's got the mindset expansive. He understands that his time combined with travel and concepts makes his mind convex. Sort of like when you look at a brain scan.
Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. So I'm going to apologize in advance if this is a little disjointed. And it's going to be disjointed for a couple of reasons. Partly because I'm still processing what it is that I've seen. But the documentation that we're going to be looking at is also a little disjointed because it's on social media and I'm trying to like piece it together. So you guys have to bear with me as I go through this. But from the top, it appears that there is another scandal that is being realized over at CGC. And it appears that it's unrelated to the most recent scandal that broke, what was it, a month and a half ago or something like that. There is allegedly a husband and wife team that is employed by CGC that is engaged in some shady behavior, stealing customer books, swapping customer books, creating labels for their books at higher grades than what they really are, and then selling those books online through eBay and then also through, I think it was Comic Link. I think that's what I saw. So that's the gist of what is happening right now. And again, I'm like trying to piece this together, going through social media, specifically on X, looking at X, trying to piece it together and figure it out. But that appears to be the situation. And CGC has essentially taken, I don't know if it's, they filed some paperwork with the courts to try to shut down this husband and wife's team ability to continue marketing and selling fraudulent comics online. That's essentially what has happened. So let's try to take a look at this. I have to give a huge shout out to Neo, who gave me a heads up on this a few minutes ago, but also to the guy that has broken the news, which is this guy right here, Paul Lesko. He is a plaintiff's litigator, and I guess he covers a lot of the happenings and legal drama that happens in the card realm. But there's a little bit of spillover to what he's talking about to comics, and that's part of the reason why I'm covering it here. But just a couple of hours ago, he shared this on X. It's CGC versus Brandon and Anna. I don't know how you say it. Terreras, I guess that's their last name. And let's do a live read of it. And he says, cut some slack. So this is what's been filed with the U.S. District Court in Tampa. You can see there, CGC is filing some paperwork against this husband right here, this husband and wife couple right here. So let's scroll down, and it basically says the specific relief that CGC wants immediately is to stop the Terreras from further marketing, advertising, or sale of the counterfeit goods. And you can see here an excerpt, if you will, that it's an injunction that they are essentially trying to apply for. So let's scroll down, because again, this is kind of all out of order here. And let me see if I can try to find a good place to jump in. Here's an interesting lawsuit. He's kind of included some screen grabs and shots like that from social media. Let's scroll up here. See if we can find. So here's a couple of the graded books that are in question. There's a nice copy of Batman, which is hanging on the wall behind me, The Last Man Standing, the Captain America book there as well. Let me see if I can find a good place. So it says here, investigators turned up that Brandon apparently admitted to stealing 23 customer submitted books from CGC. It says around September of 2023. So this is a while ago. CGC initiated an investigation of defendants' illegal activity, conducted interviews with defendants and several other employees at CGC. Mr. Terreras was not forthcoming about the scale and complexity of his fraudulent scheme. He insisted, he resisted providing truthful answers to the investigator, often changing his story about the number and location of CGC comic books he stole from CGC facilities. Ultimately, however, over the span of several days in October of 2023, he admitted piece by piece to his illegal conduct. Specifically, to date, Mr. Terreras has admitted to stealing 23 customer submitted books from CGC facilities. There's a little bit of there where it talks about CGC employees can submit a maximum of 20 of their own items for grading for free per year. So they're alleging that he stole books, he violated CGC policy. He also used their mark and copyright and trademark stuff for his own purposes. Here you go. As part of the alleged scheme, Brandon took customer submitted comic books and discarded the books CGC graded, swapped, and CGC wrapped in barcodes. He then submit the stolen books for grading and then sell the comic books on eBay or at trade shows where he received $26,895. Let me see if I can click on this. Can we see that? Let me see. As part of the scheme, Mr. Terreras would take these customer submitted books from a shelf at CGC facilities, place them on his desk, and discard the books. CGC graded, wraps, and barcodes. He would then submit for grading each of the stolen comic books, then publicly advertise, consign, or sell the comic books on eBay or at trade shows. In total, he received $26,000. With respect to 7 of the 23 stolen books, unsatisfied with the grades actually received, Mr. Terreras swapped in duplicates of CGC branded labels with higher grades, thereby misrepresenting lower grade collectible products as higher grade collectible products. Specifically, he admitted to consigning 5 books encapsulated with CGC graded labels to Comic Link under his wife's name. So let me scroll. That's all that's in that one. Let's see if we can find another piece here to this thing. See, what does it say? Terreras, 4 of which were stolen and swapped. These consigned books, including the Amazing Spider-Man 129, Amazing Spider-Man 16, Incredible Hulk 181, Batman 251, Silver Surfer 1. In particular, on October of 2023, emailed an outside investigator engaged by CGC. He provided images of 4 of the books he had stolen and swapped that remained in his possession. You can see some of those books. There's a Hulk 1. Really nice Green Lantern book over there. Gwen Stacy, first appearance 9.8. Let me see if what else we can find here. For 7 of the books, he was unsatisfied with what the grade he received, so he swapped those in. Trying to scroll through. There's another book. CGC alleges Brandon violated other CGC rules as well, included selling on eBay under essentially his last name, and the collector. What is this? Including the website eBay in violation of trademark law under the CGC rules, a screenshot provided by a fellow CGC employee. So while a CGC employee definitely helped to crack the case, it looks like he sold a copy of Star Wars, The Clone Wars issue number 1, a 9.8 newsstand for $13,000, or at least was offering it up. I don't know if it sold, but yeah, his name's there. Not only is his name there, but he also messaged the investigator to sell the books, I'm guessing. So for those folks that may be joining, there is a new CGC scandal that is broken out. There is a husband and wife couple that essentially have stolen books that have been sent in, swapped out books, created fake labels, and sold books online on eBay, on Comic Link, and at trade shows. So basically an inside job here. This is unrelated to the most recent scandal, But Paul Lesko, who is an attorney, is sharing this information on X. So I wanted to kind of represent that. There were sections here below our alleged 2 books for sale. This is on the wife's page. There's Action Comics 1000 9.4 and also a Batman 181 facsimile cover. There were some details here that I saw earlier about her role. I think she worked in the eBay group. I guess I don't really understand that service, but she received somehow or another books via eBay and was able to switch those books out with her husband. So I'm trying to find some of those parts. So again, you guys have to bear with me. This is a little disjointed and not necessarily as clean as I would like it to be. But I'm trying to find, maybe that was taken down. I don't know. There was a part that I saw in here in which it spoke about her role and how the two of them essentially collaborated to switch things out. And I'm trying to find it here. I'm not seeing it for whatever reason. But this is a snapshot of the injunction that has been filed by CGC in the Tampa division against Brandon and Ayana, I don't know, Terreras. Those are the 2 defendants here. And essentially what CGC is trying to do is they've done some investigation that started back in September. It looked like it continued until October to figure out what the heck was happening here. They interviewed, I guess, the couple and some other employees at CGC. Come to find out, this guy and this couple have been running a little bit of a scam, and they've essentially filed this lawsuit or this injunction to shut it down. What I don't see are dates. The dates of the injunction, I don't know if it was filed recently or if it was at the end of last year. Haven't been able to see a date on some of this stuff, but let me scroll through a little bit more. In particular, this goes into where Brandon actually contacted, I'm guessing, an outside investigator in an attempt to sell some of these books. He probably did not know that the person was an investigator. So let me see if I can find. There was a bigger section from there. Let me see if I can find it here. Let me see. What does this say? Let me see. What does this say? In or around September of 2023, CGC initiated an investigation of defendants' illegal activities, conducted interviews with the defendants and several other employees at CGC. Yeah, I've already read through that part. There was a section in here where I read where he said that he only did this scam with a handful of books, but there was a part in what CGC filed where they basically said we don't necessarily believe that he has been fully transparent and fully giving all of the details. Let me see. Here's another section. I don't think the wife and also co-defendant also worked as a full-time employee of CGC in the eBay department, which performs authentication services for trading cards. She represented the company at trade shows and conventions where she received collectible items, including comic books. Upon information and belief, the wife assisted Brandon with advertising, marketing, offering for sale, and selling certain CGC books and covers on eBay under her name, which is the Omni Collector, as well as on the husband's profile. As of the present date, the account, Terreras, I guess that's how you say the name, the collector, is no longer active on eBay, but Omni Collector remains active. So they are, as of this filing, still actively trying to sell fraudulent books. Upon information and belief, the wife was complicit in Brandon's activities. Let me see. Despite CGC's policy against selling comics, the wife offered and continues to offer CGC graded books for sale on eBay under her name. What is that? Both of them are listed. Both of Miss Teresa's listed comic books on eBay contain CGC signature series marks. So see if we can find another section of this thing, see what it says. In addition, defendants' conduct is likely to cause damage to CGC in the form of increased claims under the CGC guarantee and cost to resolve such claims, which again is basically a sign that CGC is basically saying, hey, we have to fix what's been damaged. We definitely want to shut this down. It says defendants unfairly benefited from CGC's goodwill and reputation to the substantial and irreparable injury to the public, CGC and CGC marks, and the substantial goodwill represented hereby. The defendant's acts constitute willful conversion, fraud, infringement, and counterfeiting, and have caused and only continue to cause irreparable injury to CGC. CGC has been permanently damaged in the amount yet to be determined. So they are trying to shut it down, and they are going to take a lot more than the $27,000 that Brandon says that he actually made. What does it say? Section 36, by looking at the images in paragraph 35, any experienced comic book collector will be able to determine that the comic book was examined, authenticated, graded, encapsulated, slabbed by CGC as indicated by various marks that CGC has determined that the grades of the comic books were 6.0, 9.6, and 9.8, that the comic books and seals appear to be authentic as demonstrated by the fact that the plastic holders are not cracked. So basically what this is alleging is that behind the scenes at CGC, this guy is making his own labels and basically putting the label and the book through the process so as to finish with a product that is that appears to be unadulterated. So basically parts of this, if you guys came in a little bit late, part of what they were alleging here was that they may have taken lower grade books that created their own labels that represented a higher grade, and then basically had that lower grade book encapsulated with that higher grade label, thus misrepresenting the overall grade of the book. So hopefully that was clear to folks. So that looks like it. What is this? Let's see what this is. This is saying something different. Brandon, an employee at CGC since 2020. So he came in and almost immediately started to run the scam, engaged in a fraudulent scheme with his wife to strip CGC of this goodwill, stealing customers' books from CGC facilities, generating duplicates of legitimate, authenticated CGC graded labels belonging to highly valuable comic books, encapsulating less valuable, lower grade comic books with these higher value duplicate labels, and offering such mislabeled goods to the public at large. Thus, in certain circumstances, consumers searching for or purchasing a CGC graded comic book, they believe they were receiving a legitimately graded book by CGC, when in reality they were receiving a lower graded comic book with duplicate higher graded CGC label taken from another higher grade book. Defendants' actions have caused and continue to cause irreparable damage, irreparable reputation and business harm to CGC, and a dramatic loss of goodwill in CGC's marks. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. This does not serve CGC well, to be honest with you, right? Another scandal on the heels of the previous scandal definitely does not serve them well. But I do applaud them for filing this injunction to try to shut these people down. So some interesting happenings. Again, shout out to my man Neo for flagging this for me, and also Paul Lesko for doing the hard work. For those that may have missed it, this is Paul Lesko right here, plaintiff's litigator, and he published a lot of this stuff to X. So some crazy stuff, man, happening with CGC. My guess is that ultimately they're gonna probably have to publish the list of books that this guy may have touched, that may be fraudulent. You're gonna have to make people whole again on top of the, what was it, 350 or so, 300 books. I can't remember the number with the last scandal. Just ungood, right? More ungood stuff is basically what this is. So probably been doing this for a while. You know the old saying, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. They're going to have to require books to be handled by 2 people minimum. I know they claim 2 graders, but not simultaneously, I assume. Yeah, I think it's also books are moving around. You know what I'm saying? Books definitely are not graded by 2 people at the same time, but books are also moving around through the facility, like going to the vault, coming out of the vault, going to, well, sorry, let's back up, going from where they are opened up to where they are stored, which might be the vault or the pressing room or wherever it is, and then moving to the grader's room. And then, the books are moving around. And so it appears that this guy has found some gaps in the system, man. This too shall pass and CGC will be better for it, says Brouhaha. That's wild that CGC allows husband and wife to work together and also to grade and sell their own books. Yeah, so I want to touch on that. So CGC has policies where I guess they can get their books graded like 20 or so per year for free. That's like a benefit, I guess. But I don't think that they're allowed to grade their books. But I think they can sell. I think so. So I don't know. I don't know. I believe on site the labels are serialized and should be accounted for. Yeah, but I think what they were doing was duplicating them, right? Duplicating that serialized number like perfectly. I don't know how he was able to slip a duplicate into the system, right? I don't know. There's some gaps in the story, and maybe it's because we're looking at this injunction piecemeal and we're not able to read it through all the way. So that could be part of the problem. Tim says probably going on at PSA as well. They probably could have copied down the numbers and recreated the labels off site. I can recall several comic YouTubers questioning their books over the years and swear that the books they sent out to CGC weren't the same books that they sent in. Wonder if their books were switched out. It's possible, man. That's why I always recommend. I've recommended this for a while. That people take photos of what they're sending, right? Take photos of front and back of the book, any kind of distinguishing marks so that you can match it up. And I do know for a fact that there have been instances where books have been misplaced by CGC and CBCS over the years. And I think in almost every one of those cases, though, those people that have been impacted by that have been made whole. And I never spoke about it publicly because it didn't seem like it was a widespread thing. It seemed like there were isolated issues. So maybe you just don't know. Scrolling through, I just posted about this. Glad to see you covering it. Mighty Comics, there you go. Scrolling down through some of the comments. Good thing. Good thing I got my Marcus books graded at CBCSS, Scott. That's what's up. So many books have gone missing over the years. As long as people keep sending books to CGC, the bad behavior will just continue. So for those folks that are tuning in, we definitely have another unfortunate situation transpiring at CGC right now. CGC has filed what appears to be an injunction in the Tampa division of the U.S. District Courts against a husband and wife team that were doing some incredibly shady stuff behind the scenes. I want to see if I can find this one section that I was reading from earlier because I thought it was a good section. And then we will wrap this thing up. I don't know if I'll be able to find it again. I probably should have saved the daggone image down. Bear with me. And again, I apologize for this at the top, that this wasn't going to be as well organized as I would have hoped. But yeah, I think this is the section. So it's here. Brandon Terreras, an employee at CGC since 2020, engaged in a fraudulent scheme with his wife to strip CGC of its goodwill, stealing customers' comic books from the facility, generating duplicates of legitimate, authenticated, graded comic books labels belonging to highly valuable comic books, encapsulating less valuable, lower grade comic books with these higher value duplicate labels, and offering such mislabeled goods to the public at large. And it appears that they were doing so on eBay. They had a couple of profiles on eBay. They also outsourced some books to Comic Link to be sold. Thus, in certain circumstances, consumers searching for or purchasing CGC graded books believed they were receiving a legitimate graded book by CGC, when in reality, they were receiving a lower graded comic book with a duplicate, higher graded CGC label taken from another high grade book. The defendant's actions have caused and continue to cause irreparable reputation and business harm to CGC and a dramatic loss of goodwill in CGC's marks. So it appears that these folks are actively still trying to sell some of these books online. I think that the couple that are actively being sold right now are these two right here, Action Comics 1000 and also Batman 181. But they also executed this scam with some really awesome books. You have a Batman book that is hanging on the wall behind me, Why the Last Man Standing, a really expensive Star Wars, the Clone Wars book, and then also these books here. So Hulk 181, a Green Lantern book, first appearance of Gwen Stacy, Hulk 181 was involved. I want to say ASM 129 was also involved. Yeah, just some interesting stuff that is transpiring. I am applauding CGC for for filing the lawsuit to try to shut it down. I think that they should absolutely try to persecute or prosecute these people to the fullest extent of the law. They also need to take a very hard look at their internal processes and procedures, because clearly there are issues there that need to be resolved. All right. I'm going to wrap this thing up, man. Yeah, if you got Adam, thank you for the super chat, brother. I've got to go back to work. But I wanted to share this information with you all. There you have it. If you guys haven't yet subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. If you can you enjoy a video on a scam? I don't know that you can enjoy a video, but if you appreciate this video, definitely give the video a thumbs up. Take care.
Straight off meditation, we was concaving until we had that eternal dialogue that created our dialect. Now we in distinct rooms with pure souls having them conversations. Synergy and combinations. You flying, we waiting. Indian style in the gold temple of greatness. When you follow the North Star, you coming for the education. This is my audio book. These rhymes are just the imagery. More like an audio graphic novel or a memoir about a young MC making timeless music with his mentor. I pray I grasp my letters. Nothing was meant to last forever.